This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
A wonderful morning to you, and if you're just joining in, this is the interview segment on the Morning Drive, Providence Television International. My name is Ogbebo Ikekwa, and we'll be in the studio. I have the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome to the program.
Always a pleasure to be here, always a pleasure, and I want to thank our viewers for staying tuned.
Thank you so much. And yesterday, being Independence celebrations as regards Nigeria's independence anniversary, Nigeria was 64 yesterday, and we are looking at Nigeria at 64. Before we we'll go fully into the interview segment, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba has something for us as regards the independence, a throwback to what it used to be.
Well, basically, I want our viewers to take advantage of what they're going to see now to evaluate what this country has been like. It's a clip, courtesy the United States Information Service, which was shot 63 years ago. It was the official visit, state visit by the then Prime Minister, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, to Washington.
Okay.
Yes, it was a glorious moment for Nigeria. Glorious moment. Received the White House by nobody else but the then President of the United States, Jeff Kennedy.
Okay.
Yes, one of the best presidents that United States has ever had. Jeff Kennedy, back in 1961. And look at the image of Nigeria at that point in time. We'll pause, please. I'm inviting our viewers to take a look.
America is waiting for the arrival in Washington of the Prime Minister of the Federation of Nigeria, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Prime Minister Balewa is making an official visit to America at the invitation of the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. Waiting at the airport to greet him are Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, Secretary of State Dean Rusk, Mr. Joseph Palmer, the American Ambassador to Nigeria, and other high-ranking American officials. Accompanying the Prime Minister is Minister of Foreign Affairs Wachuku, Ambassador Udochi, and Minister Shagari and Benson, and other key members of the Nigerian government.
Mr. Prime Minister, I am honored to welcome you and the distinguished members of your party to the United States. This welcome is only the beginning. You will find as you travel through this country a very deep and genuine interest in the exciting developments which are taking place in your country and in Africa today.
I am very pleased to be with you in Washington today, and I look forward to the week which we are to spend among you. I have no doubt that the American people will receive us with all the kindness that they all receive strangers. This is just a brief reply to your very warm address of welcome. Thank you.
Many friendly Americans are waiting to welcome Sir Abubakar to his home in Washington. During his stay in the American capital, the distinguished visitor will reside at the Blair House, the special residence for guests of the American president. Just across the street from the Blair House is the White House, where President Kennedy awaits Prime Minister Balewa. The two leaders are meeting to discuss matters of mutual and international interest. In a joint communique summarizing the outcome of their deliberations, they reaffirm their support for the principle of self-determination for dependent peoples and their unalterable opposition to racial discrimination under any name or in any guise. President Kennedy expressed his pleasure at the success.
It's a glorious moment, stupendously glorious. Nigeria was put on the pedestal, international global pedestal. That was 63 years ago. It was not even a year yet after independence. That was in July 1961. State visit of Alhaji Tafawa Balewa to Washington. Received at the airport, if you watch very carefully, received by the Vice President, Lyndon Johnson, who later became the president, by the way, after the assassination of JFK. And he was led in a beautiful motorcade to Washington to be received, to the White House, to be received by John F. Kennedy, one of the greatest presidents that America has ever had. That was Nigeria in 1961. Where are we today? That's a question for everybody to answer. The warmth, the congeniality of the visit could not be replicated after that. 1961. And if you watched, majority of the people who lined the street were white. Not even our colonial masters, Britain, could have accorded Tafawa Balewa that kind of honor. But the leader of the free world, America, did that. Leader of the free world, United States, did that to welcome. In other words, they realized the potential of Nigeria. They knew that this was going to be the leader of Africa in years to come. They knew it, that Tafawa Balewa, as the Prime Minister of Nigeria, was leading a country that was going to be the leader of the African continent. So where are we? We are celebrating 64 years. But the next thing that we should talk about is, why did we truncate a project that was already on the right trajectory? Yes. Kwekwa, you can take off from there.
Well, I would really say quite saddening, and I actually thank the MCR for not actually capturing my mood immediately after that clip. Quite a saddening one. And just like my boss has always asked, where did we get it wrong? In the first place, my question to that effect. Democracy, or let me not even start with democracy. Let me start first of all with oil. The discovery of oil at Olobiri, has it actually been a cost to us or a blessing?
Well, it came after. I mean, oil was discovered only in 1969, okay? But juxtapose that with the glory that we just saw.
Exactly.
In Washington, okay? The discovery of oil was supposed to be a plus. In addition to all the resources we already had. I mean, before oil was discovered, we had cocoa and all that. Yes, cash crops, eminently given to us by God Almighty. Then oil again was added. Double benefits. In fact, multiple benefits. And that is what America saw. That, yes, this man coming is the leader of free Africa. Just as America was the leader of the free world. There was going to be a partnership. That's what JFK was saying. He believed very much in the potentials of Nigeria as a country that was going to lead the entire African continent. Because they knew, of course, yes, they did. They knew what was involved by way of natural resources in Africa. And if Nigeria could just tap into it. And don't forget that a lot of African countries were already gaining independence. Ghana came in 1957 and a few other countries. They came before Nigeria. But Nigeria was singled out.
Yes.
Yes, because they knew. And in any case, Zik, who was the ceremonial president, schooled in America. You remember?
Yes.
He schooled in America. So America knew the trajectory we're going. Obafemi Awolowo, back at that time, was already a graduate lawyer. Yes. In that entourage, we had Ajawan Chukwu, who was the Minister of External Affairs. We had Alhaji Shehu Shagari, who later became president, as a parliamentary secretary to Alhaji Tafawa Balewa. They were there. Welcomed at the airport. Did you see the inscription on the aircraft? United States of America. Yes. They had the airline to bring a wonderful and very prominent son of Africa to Washington. So, where did we miss it? Exactly. That's the question. Exactly. We missed it because there was incursion from the military, right? And that project, which we had on a platter of gold, by the way, in 1960, was truncated by the Civil War, or by the first coup, for instance. That was the beginning of our problem.
Okay.
We did not allow it to germinate. Maybe they were in a hurry or they were bound by some other primordial instincts. We did not, we truncated it. And we are still reeling in that today.
Okay.
We are still reeling.
Okay.
The democratization process, yes, it must have come with a few hiccups here and there, but they should have been allowed to develop. Yes. It should have been allowed to do. I mean, just as we are talking about the coup in 1983 by Buhari, who removed Shagari. That coup was absolutely unnecessary. It could have developed on its own. The democratization process develops. I mean, it's like a roller coaster. It develops along the line. If we had developed our electoral process, that's the key issue. We should have built a solid electoral process. That's what we are still suffering from today.
Electoral process.
Electoral process. That's the thing now. I mean, for countries like the US and some other Western nations, the electoral process is almost faultless. Because that's the thing. I mean, if you don't do it well, it throws up the wrong people. If you do it well, you get the best. Yes. You get it. So we should have allowed it to develop. I should have rolled down the line. And that's why a lot of people are saying that the military incursion into the body politic of this country was absolutely unnecessary.
Okay. So you think the part of our problem started
it started from the incursion of the military.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Because at that point in time, look at the honor given to Tafawa Balewa, a young nation state from Africa. How many African countries did they invite like that? Tell me. And yet, there were countries that gained independence even 3 or more years before Nigeria. But this was less than a year after independence. It was July 1961, in readiness for the first anniversary in October. But look at the honor. I felt proud. In fact, the very first day I saw this clip, I shed tears. I shed tears because by that clip, Nigeria was raised to a pedestal.
Exactly.
Where are we now?
Serious question.
Yes.
We have quite a load of questions, but then so many people have faulted the way we practice our democracy, and I think you've hit a little on that as regards the electoral process. Would you want a change in the kind of form of government that we have? Some are saying instead of this two-party, two where you have the House of Reps and the National Assembly. No, why can we not develop our own? Are you of this of view?
We developed our own, and what was it? The parliamentary system of government.
Exactly.
I was young, but I knew what it was. My father was quite enlightened, even though he didn't, never went to school, but he was quite enlightened. He followed up the proceedings. That man may so continue to rest in peace. And I used to listen to him very carefully. Even when I was in a primary school, I used to listen to the man, the old man. Okay, the parliamentary system obviously is less expensive.
Okay,
right, and it's not prone to all sorts of manipulations that we are seeing now. Granted that we followed the American system, but American system is almost self-regulatory. Why? Because there are strong institutions.
Okay,
very strong institutions. Institutions that are 100% reliable. Institutions that you cannot fault. But look at what we are practicing now, for instance. First of all, it is very expensive. And secondly, it has a lot of lacunas, all over the place. Maybe we are not doing it the way it should be.
Okay.
Yes. Look at now. People are already talking about the parliamentary system. Let's go back. Even the presidency. Yes. It threw it open the other day. Maybe it was, something that was done to feel our pulse. The parliamentary system. Let's go back to it. There's no shame in it.
Exactly.
All right? The parliamentary system we practiced was on a regional basis. Every region developed on its own merit, according to its own resources. It was very competitive, very healthy competition. Yes, very healthy competition. And you could see that was when true development came to this federation. True development. That is still standing. The relics of that system, we're still witnessing it till today. Look at all the structures we have carried over from the First Republic. But again, it was truncated. Yes. I said yesterday, I was born into a country that was beautiful. This is part of it, what we just saw. A beautiful country. Yes, in all aspects of our national life. Up to 1966, a very beautiful country. The only thing that was wrong was, again, the electoral process, which brought about Operation Wet here in the Western region and all of that. But that could have been managed in such a way that yes, obviously people make their mistakes, but you learn from your mistakes.
Okay.
Yes. And that was the opportunity that we missed.
Okay.
We missed it.
And so on this note, just before we go, I know you stated this some time ago, but there are some individuals, I know in the course of discussing with them, they were like, no, Dr. Gariba can say that. Are you in support of the fact that the overall INEC officials, as in the man at the top, as regards INEC, should be elected?
A lot of eminent Nigerians have said it. I'm sorry to say, those who said what you are repeating now, they probably have not been following the situation.
Okay.
I liken it to also the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, should be elected.
Okay.
The national chairman should not be an appointee of the government in power. No, he should be appointed. And a lot of eminent Nigerians have keyed into this.
Okay.
Because you see, the danger in it is, he who pays the piper, he takes the tune. Okay? Those who have benefited for this kind of system, they always tell you what you have just told me now. Oh, no, that cannot. But they know it. They know it that that's the truth, and that's the way to go. Yes. If you are bringing the people, let there be a whole fusion of eminent Nigerians who will sit down, yes, this is the man, and we'll all rely on it. We're talking about eminent people like retired justices of the Supreme Court, eminent academicians, eminent people from the private sector who have no atom of glitches. I'm using the word loosely now. Who have no glitches in their character and integrity. Bring them on. And they are bound. They are bound in this country. They are bound. I don't want to mention names, but they are Nigerians. Let me even mention one name. Look at somebody like Christopher Kolade, an eminent Nigerian. He's still alive, must be close to 90 years now. But those are people without blemishes. And there are hundreds of people like that. Hundreds of people. Akitawa Williams, we lost him the other day. Yeah, the first qualified chartered accountant in this country. Eminent Nigerian. All right. And we can mention them who are even political. Okay? They still exist in this country. Let us gather all of them. And we'll rely on their judgment that this is the man we want for our electoral process. Okay? But when you just unpick and you then introduce the man to the legislature, what do you expect? What do you expect?
Well. As usual, like I would always promise, Providence Television is always here to bring you such explosive ideologies. Most of the time, I wouldn't say it is tied to the station's ideology, but then for all the individuals discussing it, Dr. Emmanuel Gariba has always held strong to his ideologies, and he makes it known as straight as it is. Thanks for coming on the program. On this note, yesterday's celebration, seriously low-key. I know Dr. Emmanuel Gariba has something to say as regards that.
The newspapers said it. One or two newspapers, or even three said it, that it was low-key. Why? Because there was despair. There was despondency written on the faces of people. These are facts anyway. If you went on the streets, you will see it. Ask people, even today, it is not too late. Ask people on the street, what do you think of independence? They will tell you, I won't mention it, but probably I can paraphrase one or two issues. What independence? What has independence got to do with me? In a country in which, long before now, we were proud to identify with independence. I told you yesterday, even as little kids, we looked forward to October 1st. It was more glorious and more flamboyant than even Christmas. Yes. At a point in time, we look forward to it because then government will give you these cups, plastic cups, they'll give you flags, which you will wave as little kids. How many state governments are giving children that now? Even flags. We are not even proud of our national flag. Yes. I expect that some state governments will at least give children some flags, these buntings or flaglets, we'll call them. How many of them? Yes. And the flag is a symbol of our sovereignty. Right from infancy, we should believe in the flag. Go to the filling station and tell people about independence. Tell them. So, and that's what some newspapers captured very vividly, that there was a gloomy, visage with the people. And you could tell. How many people, in those days we used to cook rice. Yes, to cook all sorts of things within the family setup. We're celebrating the birth of our nation. We will cook. Look, let me tell you this. As a young boy in Lagos growing up, I will carry a tray on top of my head. My father would say, go and give to this, go and give to this, go and give to this. I was very eager to do it because on return they will give me maybe 1 penny or 2 pence or something, and I was happy about it. We will cook rice, chicken, and all sorts of things, which everybody could afford. But my father would say, look, go and give this family, go and give this family. In return, they will also give us independence. Yes.
Well. In that same country, years and years after, a bag of rice now sells over 100,000. And if you even want to get the subsidized one by government, you need to have your NIN. Such issues we'll discuss more and more on Providence Television International. Thanks for staying tuned. Do have a wonderful day ahead.